Hi, Andy Herringshaw with Tractor Innovations. Today I'm here on Whidbey Island, Washington to show you the installation of a remote hydraulic kit on this Ford 1715 tractor. This tractor has quick couplers, so we're just going to be able to plug right into that to create a set of remote hydraulics. Today we're going to be running those forward to run this snow blade, but you can run these forward for a grapple or any other implement. You can also install these with the hoses run to the rear for a hydraulic top link or to run a log splitter, any other type of implement like that. So I'm going to show you the installation to the front. We'll take a minute and show you what the couplers would look like on the rear as well. This is absolutely the most affordable and easiest way to get a set of remote hydraulics on your tractor. This kit comes complete with the hoses, couplers, brackets, everything you need to install down to the zip ties and a spare set of male coupler tips to put on any implement you might install. For this tractor, you may have watched another video where we've mounted to the dash and other places, but this tractor doesn't lend itself well to that, so it comes with a mounting plate. We're going to drill and tap 2 holes right here on the loader arm to mount that switching valve and easy reach of the operator. Today we're working with a snow blade, but lots of people do install hydraulic top links for their tractor. If you're having trouble finding the right length, check out my website. It's linked right below. I've built these in lots of different sizes for the smaller tractors. Everything I sell comes with the hoses, couplers, everything installed, ready to plug in and go to work. All you need is a few simple tools, so let's get it going. The first step to installing this on the 1715 tractor is to take the mounting plate, and we are going to drill and tap 2 holes right here to put this onto the tractor. That's a 4" by 8" plate. We want right at half of it sticking forward out here so that the valve sits forward enough. So feel free to take a measurement or just eyeball it. We want it to sit pretty high so it's easy reach of the operator and right at half of the bracket sticking forward. So I'm gonna mark these spots and then I'm gonna come back with a tap. I'm gonna punch these for easy drilling. This kit comes with the drill and the tap, so you've got exactly what you need for a 5/16 threaded hole. Set the tap aside and chuck up the drill bit. Of course, before you do any drilling, make sure there's nothing sensitive behind where you're going to drill. On this tractor, there's no hoses or anything inside this block, so I believe we are safe to drill. All right, with the 2 holes made, now take your tap, and they make specialized tools for this, but I just use a wrench. Put the tap in there, and we are just going to twist it in there slowly to let it cut those threads. Once it starts, it'll just pull itself in. And the good thing, this top one, there's space on the back. If you booger up the threads, you can always put a nut on it. But we should be able to make nice enough threads with this. There we go. 1/2" wrench to tighten these in. Make sure you really get them straight. With the mounting bracket on the tractor, I've put the rest of the hardware into a magnetic bowl here so I don't lose anything, and it's time to mount the switching valve. On this tractor, the switching valve is going to go on the inside of this plate, and it's going to sit right here. You can get out your long bolts from the kit, slide those right through the bracket, and then on the inside we're going to put a washer, lock washer, and nut. Do that for both holes and tighten them with a 1/2" wrench. Before we go anywhere else, let's go ahead and install the knob onto the valve. I've got the knob out of the hardware kit, plus a lock washer. There we go. and just thread it into the piston. Usually this piston will start spinning before it gets quite tight enough. Yep, look at that, it's spinning already. Not a problem. We can grab onto this piston to finish tightening, but do not grab here inside the circlip area. In fact, push it all the way in so I make sure I'm not gonna pinch something that has to go into the body. And I can just hold on to it here on the outside and finish twisting in the knob. All right, go ahead and make sure that knob pulls nice and easy. There we go. If it's just a little tough, sometimes in manufacturing they're tighter than others. When we get pressurized oil in there, it'll loosen up. That looks great. With the valve mounted, now it's time to connect the supply lines into the loader hydraulic system. So I'm going to take these shorter lines attached to the switching valve here, and I'm going to find a neat routing. On this tractor, the quick couplers for the loader are clear up here at the front. So I'm going to show you the routing, and then we'll go up there to disconnect those. Take your time here, and you can get a really professional looking outcome. Okay, I have the hoses routed up to the front, and before I disconnect any quick couplers, put your hand on your loader lever and move it to all 4 positions to make sure all the pressure is out of the loader circuit. While you're at it, go ahead and lower your 3-point hitch. I just don't want anything to move in case we let loose some hydraulic pressure in the system. Always a good thing to do right before you disconnect it, because even sitting out in the sun can heat up the oil in those hoses and create a little bit of pressure, which even if it doesn't make things move, can make it really hard to connect the quick couplers. So do that right before you go disconnect it. Now let's go do that. All right, we're looking here at the quick couplers for this loader. The top 2 run the dump circuit. The bottom 2 run the lift circuit. On this tractor, we're going to be plugging into the dump circuit. So we're going to undo one of these top couplers. Slide the collar back, and out it comes. I usually like to advise that we do this whole thing one hose at a time, but because both of these hoses are in the same sleeve, we're going to go ahead and undo both couplers here. I'm going to get this little cover free. All right, those hoses are free to go and connect back to the switching valve. I have these hoses to power the switching valve, and I'm going to trace them back and make sure which hose is which. The hose that goes to the front, I'm going to plug into the bottom. There we go. The hose that goes to the back, I'm going to plug into the top. All right, make sure those collars locked all the way, and we've got a nice neat routing for those hoses. Now let's go take these back to the switching valve. I've got the supply hoses to the switching valve plugged in up front, and the hoses that were plugged in for the loader brought back here. We're going to plug these right into the top of the switching valve. Before I go further, let me walk you through the decision of which circuit to hook it up to. If you're running an implement on the back of the tractor, most people want to install that on the lift function. That means when you've activated the remote by pulling out the knob, forward and back motion on the loader lever is going to control what's on the rear. A benefit of that is when you push this loader lever all the way forward into that float position, lots of people do hydraulic top links on the back. That's going to let them drift however they want. Especially on this tractor, hooking something onto the front, we never want to give up that lift function. We want to be able to lift and tilt that blade. Other people installing a grapple, you want to be able to lift and grapple at the same time. So we're going to be installing this on the dump function, which means you're going to be able to lift and lower your loader. Right and left is going to control the blade turning right and left. So I undid the dump function quick couplers in the front. Now I've got these brought back here. I normally recommend doing these one at a time so you can't get them mixed up, but both of these hoses are in the same sleeve, so it made sense to just go ahead and disconnect them both. The beauty here, if I get them backwards, it's just going to run funny, take the pressure out, and swap the couplers back. So I think I've got them right here, but if I don't have them right, I'll just have to swap these two if I think I've got it wrong. So that is really it. Undoing the quick couplers on your loader, just 2 of them. bringing those back here to the switching valve, we've got this plumbed into our loader circuit. Now I'm going to take these longer lines out the bottom and run those up to the loader so that we can plug in the snow blade. Again, just like with the other ones, take your time here, find a nice neat routing where these hoses will be protected, and then we'll get them neatly put into the couplers at the front. On this tractor, we're installing the remotes to the front for the snow blade, but I wanted to at least take a second and show you what these remotes could look like on the back. Installing them into this bracket with the mounting bar, these would easily mount to one of these mounting bolts or your seat belt bolt, or up here to your rollover protection. That's where I would do it, right here, to the rollover protection with those two remotes in the bracket right there. And you could easily have those hoses come under the floorboards right up to this point. That'd make a really nice installation with your bracket there. Okay, I've got the hoses run up the loader arm and here to this front cross member. Some of these older hoses are kind of at funny angles, so I worked these hoses around them because I want to be able to set my bracket and my W brackets there to hold these quick couplers. With enough hose behind them, these hoses need to be able to flex a little bit. When you plug in and remove a coupler, the hose actually moves about 3/8 of an inch, so you can't have it right up against something. Looking at this front cross member, I've got a bolt here that will work really well to mount the single hole end of the mounting bar. One thing I'm going to need to do is to create a little height here so that this mounting bar isn't digging the couplers into the hoses and the front bar. I'm going to go take this to the vise and put just a little Z-bend in it. I'll show you that, then we'll come right back here to mount these quick couplers. To put a Z-bend into this mounting bar, I've got my road vise here in a receiver hitch. It's always a mess getting on the road with tools. We're going to make it work. Okay, I'm going to put a bend a little ways out, try to get this to raise about an inch. A piece of 3/4 inch conduit works really well to put that bend right where you want. There we have it, a Z-bend that will raise the couplers up off of the loader cross member a little bit. Okay, I found the bolt I want to use to mount this bar. So I'm just going to loosen the bolt here. For this tractor, that's a 1/2 inch. And it's got a little spacer here. I'm going to take that off. And this mounting bar is really going to take the place of that spacer. The hole in the mounting bar is just a little bigger than this bolt, so with a washer, we're going to drop that through, and that should hold it really well. Okay, the mounting bar is on solid. Now I can take my W brackets here, slide it over each of the couplers, and as it goes over, you should see a bit of the coupler stick out on each side, about a 1/4 inch. So look at that. Yep, it's on the coupler just far enough there, and it's biting into the groove back here. Do that for the second coupler. Now, I'm going to just finger tighten these outside nuts. Make sure your couplers are correctly placed. There we go. And then we're ready to slide this onto the mounting bar here. Ooh, and as I do it, I see a little interference of this hose with this hose. Yep, it's going to have to bend a little sharp. So I'm going to take this coupler back out and reroute it. I didn't account for how tight that bend would be. There we go. That hose is going to have a lot more freedom to move here on the outside than stuck between those other hoses. Okay, now we're ready to mount these W brackets to the mounting bar. The W brackets can go on top of the mounting bar, under the mounting bar, or straddling it. And here I think it's going to work best straddling it, just like that. And I'm ready to drop those bigger bolts right through there. On the bottom goes a lock washer and a nut. All right, let me give just a quick demo of how this kit works. We've got our switching valve here that is going to divert the dump circuit to power the snow blade here. So if you've watched some of my other videos, the in and the out are going to be reversed on this because this valve mounts on the left side of the bracket instead of the right. So with the knob out, I have completely normal motor control. I have lift function. Of course, the engine's off right now, so it's only going to go down. And I have dump function, okay? So when I push the knob in, I've activated the remote now. I still have the lift function, but right and left is going to control the snow blade. And if I need to adjust my dump angle, all I do is pop this knob back out, and I've got control of the dump function again. Pop it back in, I've got control of the snow blade. Well, there you have it, the simplest and most affordable way to get remote hydraulics on your tractor. Today we worked on a Ford, but I build these for newer New Hollands, Kubotas, John Deeres, really any tractor out there. I can figure out a kit to get you rear remotes based off of your loader circuit. With just a few simple tools and usually under an hour, you can have these remotes on your tractor. Don't forget, I also sell hydraulic top links if you're wanting to add that to your tractor. Check out my website. You can see it right here and it's in the comments below. Please subscribe to my channel, like this video so other people can find this helpful information as well. And thanks for watching.